morning.
All right.
Happy Monday.
Ready to go?
Sorry.
Wait for Scott and Phil.
Sorry, guys.
It's all good.
Come on, Scott.
I'm not used to having to do this.
You want me to show you
Come
how?
on, Eklund.
Hopefully Scott has it right today.
All right, go ahead, Coach, please.
So what were you doing on the sideline at the time when the call came in that you guys were going for it on 4th and 1, and just kind of what was your reaction like to that sequence?
No, it was something that we knew was going to be something that potentially could happen. So you just had to cover 3 scenarios. Number one, if something occurred and we did not get the first down, knowing that we had to get ready to get onto the field and stop them because we were going to stop them. Number two, if we got the first down, kicked the field goal, and there was time left on the clock. So you're going to have to get on the field to stop them so they didn't get in the field goal range. Number three, if something occurred and we did not score any points and the game went in overtime. So those are the 3 scenarios that we were talking about over the headsets while everything was going on. So then when you get the first down, then the conversation gets very minimal at that time, because now the clock is in your favor, where, hey, we get the first down, they can't stop the clock enough to where we knew there's a strong chance we're not going to go back on the field again.
So obviously one of those results would be problematic for you guys if they got stopped and Wazoo got the ball inside the 30. I mean, just from a perspective of, like, were you guys cool with that? Were you guys cool with them taking that chance there at that point in time?
Yeah, on our end, the one thing that I think that is unique about our football team is every side or every entity within the organization has each other's back. And we know one of our primary goals is to win the Pac-12 Championship with class, excellence, and academic integrity. So we knew that was a scenario that was going to give us a chance. Now, we got full faith in the guys on offense, knowing that if they need a yard in that scenario, no matter where we are, they'll have a chance to be able to get it. Now, were our fingers crossed? Absolutely.
We've seen a couple of huge games. From Carson Bruner here where he's had to step into that role. But obviously he'd been a contributor prior to that, but maybe not a starter. Had he done something to improve to get to that point, compared to earlier in the season? And has he done enough now to earn more run?
Yeah, it's just one of those things where as you get through the fall and as you get through the season, you always want to make sure you're peaking at the right times. And that's exactly what he's doing, with the injury that happened to Alfonso Tupatala. He was able to come in, and we knew we didn't blink. Just as I told the guys, we have a philosophy in our room is we know who it ain't going to be on our end. When it comes to when you get in, if you prepare like you're supposed to, you're going to have a chance to make your plays at the point of attack. And the last couple of weeks, he's been very good. Being able to do that while staying within the constraints of our defense, while being able to drive the defense, while making sure everyone is called the line, then adjusted. And at the point of attack, he's making his plays. So he's just doing a lot of the things that we've just seen in practice, but just weeks on top of weeks on top of weeks.
Is it still hard to shake up the pecking order, though, where you're at now with rotations and situational deals, rather than just elevate him to the immediate starter?
No, because I think we have a lot of trust in our room, and they know and understand that the best guys play, and those guys who are playing well, making those plays are going to be in when it counts the most. So, and we have a trust within the room and within our defense and within our team, and a lot of that just really comes from the mission that Coach DeBoer puts us all on.
Coach, looking back on it, did you have the right defensive play call on the end of the half when Wazoo got the touchdown in the corner in there?
Yes, we do. We just have to play our techniques better. That's all, and some of those things happen from time to time, and we knew we had to put it behind us, and we had to go make some more plays in place of that. And that's where we just have to be better, just understanding some of the situational awareness with it being 3rd down and 19.
What was the technique that needed to be played differently there?
No, just being able to keep outside leverage. You should not be able to give a fade up when you have middle of the field help. That's all.
We saw Thule had 5 plays in that game. Was that more of a reflection of the situation with WSU having a pass-oriented offense and not being as much of a physical game, or was there some lingering health stuff?
No. It was probably a little bit of both. Just trying to make sure we can take care of him, but also, we had to have the turbos and the Lamborghinis in just because of the offense that was going on. He is more of your limousine when he's on the field.
With that same package.
He's your old school caddy.
But are we going to see more of that package against Oregon this time around, where you can have just some of those faster guys out there to just try to contain Bo Nix, keep him in the pocket?
Yeah, well, those are things that you always have to do depending on who you're playing. I think the one thing that has always been great on our end is you're getting to the point in time where now, in a sense, the bullets in the gun are becoming available, and they are available. So when you have a chance to have bodies that you can choose from, and you can recycle the bodies around and have fresh legs on the field so you can chase guys like Bo Nix around, it obviously helps.
Was that the best game you've seen Mikel Esteen play? in your
Yeah,
time here?
yeah. Just from a production standpoint, yes. One thing that he has been very consistent, and on our end, we think he is probably one of the smartest football players in the building. He really understands the game of football and understands the spaces and the people around him and what all the other guys are doing around him. So he's always going to be able to put himself in position to be able to make plays. And we've been really, really pleased with his growth, with him really embracing his role, because it's been some games you're going to play a lot, some games you're going to play minimal, sometimes you're going to play special teams, and he's really addressed it with a smiling face, saying, what do I have to do to help our team win? And that's exactly the kind of young men you want on your football team.
Coach, you guys sub a lot at the linebacker spot. I think you played 5 or 6 guys in the game on Saturday. Is it getting to a point in time of the year where maybe it's time to give Carson Bruner even more snaps and kind of maybe limit the sub package a little bit there?
No, because all those guys play. So when you look at how the substitutions came out from the game, Carson played the most of all the guys in the group. So some of those things are just happening naturally. The biggest thing that we want to make sure, as we tell our guys, you want to make sure you can be fresh, you can be fast, and you can play to your rev limiter. And if you can do those on any given down, we're going to be just fine. And this is where you want to be during this time of the year.
You guys are the undefeated team. You also beat Oregon once earlier this year, and yet you're a big underdog in this one. How do you view that? How much of an extra motivation is it for the guys?
Yeah, all that just does is just make the chip on our shoulder that much bigger, because we know it is awesome when you can come in as the underdog, because the only thing that we're really caring about is the individuals on our team and our organization. That's why one of the main premises for us coming into the season was going to be us versus us.
What has made Troy Franklin so difficult to contain for them?
Long, rangy, athletic, and being able to create space amongst everyone, and obviously him being able to run down the sideline and Bo Nix throwing him some really good balls to be able to catch and run after the catch. Most of the time when he's catching the ball, he's not catching the ball where he's got static feet where his feet aren't going anywhere. Every time he's catching the ball, he is still getting vertically down the football field.
When you look back at the first game, what do you feel like your defense did well that day?
I think we did well, obviously, on our 3rd and 4th downs, being able to get off the football field, and we have to continue to do that. And one of the main emphases now is just making sure we're great in all of our run fits and making our plays at the point of attack and being able to make one-on-one tackles, because that's where they've been very good and that's where they excel.
We saw Lance Holtzclaw, one play, 1 sack in that game. He's someone who, on the practice field, has put himself in position to impact more in the future.
Yeah. Lance is someone who's been green and growing. He's been just getting a couple of plays here, a couple of plays there, but obviously he's been really good in practice. And I just think that that's just something that speaks to what developmental programs do. You have to develop your players, and you don't know when your breakthrough moment is going to be. All we tell our players is you make sure you do your job from a preparation standpoint. You have the confidence when you come in, and then go apply your skill set and apply your technique on those given downs.
Is the reason Thule didn't play very much until the very end of the game because just of what Washington State brought to the field and their offense?
Yes.
So it wasn't an injury thing?
No. It was just making sure we could still keep them fresh, but some of the things that they were doing, we wanted to have just some of our faster guys in play.
Oregon hasn't really been in a close game since they were here. I wonder, do you see areas that their offense has gotten even better since October 14th?
Yes, as you see, they've still been great being able to throw the ball, and they've obviously involved a lot more people. We know the running back, he's going to do a great job. Bucky and those guys do a great job being able to catch the ball, but also we've seen 15, probably his production has probably doubled since our game. So being able to see that come into play, and they've been able to do some good things to where they're hitting guys on a run, and that's how they're getting a lot of chunk yards and a lot of chunk plays.
How do you feel the tackling has improved defensively over the course of the season, especially since the Oregon game?
Yeah, it's been consistent. The biggest thing we have to do is just continue to run our feet at the point of attack, especially when you're out in space. Sometimes that may mean the ball carrier may get 2 or 3 more yards, but you make the secure tackle. So that's been kind of one of our main points of emphasis is not having what we would say shoot your gun too soon, because if you miss, there may be one of the person behind you or the pursuit may be coming. If you just make sure you make the sure tackle, you'll always be good.
I saw Asa Turner get on as a senior. Does he have any chance of playing in the postseason? And if not, is there a chance he can come back next year?
Yeah, yes. We feel as though we can. And the one thing about Asa and a lot of the guys, a lot of those gentlemen are day-to-day, and they're doing everything they can to get back as soon as they can. You know, they haven't, quote-unquote, thrown anything away. And when they're available, we'll be using them.
So all those options are open, like even next year, because he's only played a handful of games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think some of those, it may be in his court what he wants to be able to do.
Coach, can you tell kind of a first-person account, a story or two of what it was like being on the sideline, experiencing those 2 defensive plays, the 3rd and 2 where MJLA got the 1-yard hit, and then the 4th and 3 where Oregon threw the incompletion, you guys got off the field. What was your experience of those 2 big plays to get the ball back to the offense?
Well, it was just those scenarios of us just knowing as a football team, we have 3 things that we always talk about. Number 1, provide the winning edge. Number 2, be at your best when it counts the most. Number 3, create a game-changing play. And all those scenarios, those 3 things came up. And that's what we talk about. That's what we breathe. That's what we bleed. That's in the fabric of us on defense. And that's where we've been able to be very opportunistic on the field. So some of those things, it's not surprises. Those guys are just stepping up, making their plays when it matters the most. So, and you're very proud of them for being able to thrive in moments like that.
Is that it for Coach? All right, everybody, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Go Dogs.
Morning.
Go ahead, Coach.
How'd you feel after that 4th and 1 call? And what was the mindset going into it? And
Confident. Felt good. We had a lot of looks during the game of similar run fits and how they were playing the edge of the play. So we felt good about the call. You know, Coach DeBoer was going to see if we could get him on the punt deal, and if we didn't draw him off, we were going to go back to the play. And so I had that one bookmarked for the right time, and that was the right time.
Did that play have a name?
That's, no. Yeah, it of course did, but I'm not going to tell you.
Or did you find that from somebody else on another film? I know you.
I'm not going
have
to tell
your
you that
whole
either.
Rolodex of-
We've never had an original thought ever in the
Okay,
football
that's
world.
what-
So.
I saw something similar, just, 'cause
Yeah.
I know you have a big.
No, actually, the
library.
guy that dug it back up, we did see it on film, a version of it. Mitch Dowling, who helps out the quarterbacks, is the one that dug it up and like was talking about it, and so it came up in some of our goal line stuff. So it wasn't exactly where I was going to call it on the field, but it was the right time. So it was in our goal line package, but I just felt like this might as well be goal line.
For you, how satisfying is it to, I mean, it is essentially a trick play at the biggest moment of the game and of the season. So.
Oh, it's great. I think, the biggest part is, you got a head coach that believes in the call, and you got a good call, and you tell him, yep, we're good, and he sticks with it, and then you're getting the ball to your best guy and in the best moment, and your quarterback's making a great decision, because Mike was reading that play. If the edge was soft, he was going to give it to DJ, but you obviously know they were sucking down, and he read it right and did a great job.
Was Kalen go all the way in that scenario?
I'd say like 75%. Yeah,
And you?
No, he was good. He was, gave the, "Are you sure?" And I said yes. But yeah.
So you were go all the way.
Yeah, I think it was an appropriate spot. I mean, I think that everything that we had looked at, we felt really confident about the call, and we just had so many clips and plays of how that was gonna play out, that, you know, we felt good about it.
How did you evaluate Mike's game as a whole?
I think he played good. I don't think he played his best game, obviously. I think there was some throws, obviously, that, you know, he'd probably love to have back. But, you know, I think he made some really big throws and big plays at the right times. Obviously, you know, the touchdown he threw to Rome in the right corner of the end zone, he had a guy right in his face, you know, hitting him, and he dropped a dime right there for Rome to go get. So I think there's always going to be plays like that if people continue to challenge him, he's going to, you know, raise up and make the play. I know he was frustrated after the game. He thought he could have played better, and I think he's just continuing to learn, you know, what those tight games provide him as a quarterback, and how he's just got to keep throwing punches. And when it gets tough and frustrating, that's when he's got to continue to be his best. And I thought he did a good job of that.
Sorry, you were pretty critical last weekend here about the way the second half at Oregon State went. Did you feel like you saw improvement in the offensive execution?
Yeah, I did. Obviously, we weren't perfect. You know, we tried to be pretty balanced, which I think we were. I think we had 33 pass attempts and 30 rushing attempts, somewhere in there. And I thought DJ did a great job. There wasn't a lot of big, wide open lanes, but I thought there was a lot of 2-yard gains that turned into 7-yard gains. And I thought the later the game went, the more effective DJ got, which was encouraging to see because we needed it. We needed our run game to hit. So that part was for sure encouraging.
Ryan, Mike's been under 58% 4 of his last 5 games. Passing game doesn't look as crisp as it did early in the year. I mean, I guess, would you agree with that, number one? And number two, what do you think's going on overall in the last maybe month and a half?
Yeah, there's no doubting that. I mean, it's statistical evidence. It hasn't been as effective, you know, and I know everybody worries about how much the ball is going down the field or not going down the field, but I think we also made a lot of those plays that got us some big wins too. And so I don't think you can just change your DNA completely. You got to find the right shots at the right times and when to be patient as well. So I think, you know, we'll have a good plan ready for Oregon, and our guys are going to have to make contested catches. That's going to be a given. And, you know, you go back to the Oregon game that we won, almost every big play that we had was a contested throw. And so I think that part of the thing is that people are, you know, playing us more aggressively, and so there's going to be a lower percent completion, and there's going to be tougher catches and tougher plays, and there's just, you know, people make adjustments throughout the season. We have to do the same.
Would you have wanted to work the middle of the field maybe a little more on Saturday? Slants, seam routes, things like that. Kind of felt like.
Yeah, we did. You know, we had a couple protections that went the wrong way, and, you know, people think that it's, you know, free rushers and things like that, but certainly we had the plan in place to be able to do those things, and those calls were made, and we just didn't hit them.
When you say teams have been playing more aggressively, you're talking about the coverage?
Man coverage.
In my untrained, uncoached eyes, it looked like they were sending like a lot of blitzes from different angles and things like that, more guys than you can block a lot of times. Was that
No, it was less than that, actually.
Oh.
Like the plays that people were talking about, I guess, in perspective, there was more dropping than there was blitzing. So there's a perception of pressure, and we got to do a good job of sorting that out, or a better job where, you know, we think of the one sack Mike had, you know, they only rushed 4. There were 6 and almost 7 guys on the line, but they only brought 4 guys. So it wasn't like a wild amount of pressure. It was just how we picked that up. So we certainly got to do a better job of that.
Ryan, having coached at many different levels and different formats when it comes to the postseason, what's your general thought? Should a team that wins a national championship, should they have won their conference first? Should that be a prerequisite for playing for a national title?
Oh, man. Geez, that's above my pay grade, you know. But I would say, I think the beauty of playoffs is just get the right people in the playoffs. And then whoever is in the playoff system, whoever wins that is the champion. So I certainly think college football is trying to get to that. Obviously, 4 teams makes that tougher, where it'd be great if you add more, like what we'll be in next year, where there's 12. And you know, that natural pool play is just a lot cleaner, you know, and when it's only 4, and there's certainly some good teams that will be left out of the playoffs this year. And you'd love to see that play out and see how people, I think that's the purest form of competition is when you get to the postseason, it is the playoffs, and that's exactly what it is.
You
What was your
mentioned that,
reaction when you saw that you're a 9.5 point underdog?
I don't care about that.
You don't look at it?
No, we've been favored and barely won by that, so I don't care about any of that stuff. It doesn't matter at all to me.
Ryan, at the end of the game, during the kick, there was a shot of Mike sticking his head in the phone bank. I'm sure you saw that already when Jalen was there with him, and some people thought he was throwing up, others thought he was anxious. Can you kind of just give us, I know you weren't there obviously, but give us an idea of maybe what was going through Mike's mind there at the end of the game there? And
Oh, I'm sure he was just praying for Grady and hoping for the best. You know, honestly, just, nerves at the end of the game like that. I think there's a lot of pressure on these kids, man, and they're awesome kids, and they love what they do out there, and they want to do their best. You know, they just want to go out there and win and do it, make the community proud, and so I think there's a piece there where they feel that, and in a moment like that, I'm sure that it's incredibly emotional. And that probably wore on Mike as much as it did any of the guys.
speaking of that, I mean, Mike is in a unique position with the Heisman campaign that's been all season, coming off last year, and sort of that spotlight that's on him as the face of this team. How do you feel like he's weathered that in what is obviously a little bit of a burden probably in that situation?
Yeah, I'd give him an A+. I would. I think that there's plenty of grown adults that would not handle it 1% as good as Mike has. And, my hat's off to him. I think for his age and the type of attention that some of these kids have to, scrutiny that they're under, and they get it. They understand the position they're in, and that this is big college football and all those type of things. But I just think he's done a great job, and I think this week will be a huge part of his preparation is just, I told him just lose himself in the prep. Just focus on playing a fun football game against a team that he's already played and beaten twice. And, just lose yourself in that and have fun with it, because once you start weighing in the playoffs and the Heisman, and you make it about all that. You don't make it about winning the football game and just playing his best game as a quarterback for Washington. And that is much easier said than done. But I think what Mike has done, I'm not saying he's been perfect all year with that by any question, but he's done a great job. He's done a great job. You think about the media, the advertisements, all that kind of stuff that can really weigh down on him. And I think for all that being on his plate, tonight I know we're supposed to have a walkthrough, and he's got a class that he has to be on Zoom at 6 o'clock, so which is crazy. But I wish he was there for 3 hours, but he's got to go to class.
Would you say that he's fully healthy at this point?
Yeah, he's good. He was a little under the weather at the end of the game, but it wasn't. He's good.
What's been the message to Jalen Polk? Obviously, had a pretty successful season, in the last 2 weeks seemed to just be on a different planet, for lack of a better term. What's happened to Jalen?
Yeah, nothing. You just do your thing. Be who you are. JP's a stud. He's an absolute stud. He's had a couple drops, had some tough weeks, but he's one of the toughest kids I know, and he knows how to dust himself off and get back up there. And, you just got to know that we count on him and we believe in him, and he knows that. He knows that the coaching staff loves him and believes in him, and so do the kids on the team. So he'll be great. He's going to make a big play.
All right, Ryan, you mentioned the contested catches in the first game against Oregon. What else did you feel like offensively you did maybe really well that day that you have to do again?
Well, I think we got to be able to run the ball, and I think that, we're going to have an execution to be able to take care of that. I think DJ had right at 100 yards. I don't think we, blew their doors off running the football, but I think we were consistent and we were moving the chains at the right times. And, I think controlling the line of scrimmage is always important, and it certainly will be against them as well. So, and we just got to, control the things that we can control. And, I know Washington State had gotten some of our calls and some of our signals and things like that. So we're making some adjustments to that this week to make sure that doesn't happen again. And, tell the kids, hey, we'll take care of that. You just take care of the play.
How do you know they got your calls? Just by their
That's a
reaction?
secret. I can't tell you.
is that a Connor Stallion situation, you think, or
No,
no?
no. It's all's fair in love and war. They didn't do anything wrong. I'm just saying I knew they had some of our calls.
And you sensed that, like, during the
Halftime.
week of prep, but like during the game, you figured that out?
Yeah. And after, yep.
you guys haven't had your full complement of receivers in a while due to injuries and other things. Do you just feel that you can open up the playbook a little bit more in terms of some of the things you might want to do with
Well, I think-
Giles back and everything like that?
Yeah, I think the obvious piece is attacking the middle of the field, and those things. I think we've done a good job with that anyways, but, J-Mac is just different when he's in there and in the slot. I think you certainly can move him around, plays where he's on the outside and plays where he's on the inside, and just kind of mixing that up.
Dylan Johnson caught a pass on that last drive after Rome's big play, but he hasn't caught a ton this season. Have you had that opportunity to get him some checkdowns or the ball in space from the passing game as much as you would like to this season?
Yeah, no, those are always built in. I think that's just, on Mike as he goes through his progression when those are available. And certainly when you're getting the ball down the field, those should open up a little bit, those matchups with the linebackers and things like that.
Oregon hasn't been a close game since they played here. I wonder, has their defense improved, and in what ways have you seen them maybe change and evolve?
I don't think they've changed, but I do certainly think one of the things I think they do a great job of, I think they're the best tackling team we've seen. And I think they've gotten better at it. You can tell that they work at it in practice and that they're passionate about how they tackle, and my hat's off to them. I think they do a great job with that. They pursue the football really well. I think they're playing with more confidence. They've had some success, but I don't think necessarily that there's a bunch of different things going on other than they're playing faster, and they've got another linebacker in there, number 4, is playing a little bit, but I think they tackle really, really well, and I think that even since the time we played them, I think they've gotten even better at it. I don't think there's a better tackling team in the conference than them.
Is there a place where, with the season Rome's had, is there a place where he's especially better now than he was even in fall camp or at the beginning of the season? Where are the places where you feel like he's improved the most?
The obvious thing is just the ball compete skill. When the ball's in the air and it's a one-on-one situation, I just think he's very difficult to beat. I think he does a really good job of owning the red line and giving Mike real estate, where he can put the ball and let Rome be a spatial player out there. So I think, those are things that he's really, really taken to heart. I would say he's a better blocker, but he's always been a good blocker. I think every week Rome looks at the game plan and is like, what do I need to do better for us to win the game? And then he goes and attacks it, whatever that is. If he feels like he's long out of the back end of his break, he'll work on that. He's a true pro.
Were you surprised that you got the roughing call on Mike on that last drive?
Honestly, I didn't see it. I was already looking at my call sheet, but afterwards, I think those are always bang, bang, honestly. Like, they're pretty close, but we certainly will take it. I mean, there's plenty of calls that don't go your way as well, so we're not going to turn it down.
And then one thing that you seemingly will have this week that you did not have in the first game is a healthy McMillan.
Yeah.
How is he as healthy as he's been since the
Yeah.
Michigan State game?
No, he's great. He was, I think Oregon State was a huge step, getting him back out there. This last game would have liked to get him the ball even more. But yeah, he looks great. He feels great. I think he's getting stronger every day. He works through practices at a different tempo now, even, than he did 2 weeks ago. So I feel like he's really ready to go.
And then Giles back, right?
Giles back.
Friday?
That's right. Yep. We made it. Good job, Coach Shep and Coach Grubb and everybody. Good job. And that was, like, all jokes aside, like, remember giving Giles a big hug and, how excited I was that we were able to do that just as a whole staff. And that took everybody, understanding the patience of getting a kid like that back for another season and just how important that is. And just huge credit to the kid where he just was ready to line up and work. If you need me, you need me, whatever it is. And just, the emotional wear that has on a kid, I think, would be really difficult. And he did a fantastic job. He's a stud.
And then you guys didn't even suit him up for the game, right?
No.
Was that just in case?
Oh, no, I told him right away. I said, you're not suiting up. And I put it on the receiver room. I said, you need to go win this game without him. And so he can come back and play next year.
Considering his situation, is there a chance that Jalen McMillan might have to come back because he's played so few games this year?
I begged Jalen. I told Mike I put in a 7th-year exemption for him. Troy, Rome, I've already told him he's coming back next year, so yeah, sure, anybody. I'll tell him anything, try to get those guys back for sure. But I think, absolutely with J-Mac and the situation he's in, I think he'll have a lot to evaluate after the season. I think he sees what, the value of what happened with Rome this year of coming back and playing another season and, upping his status and having another great year. So, JP, same thing. And those guys doing a good job of just staying in the moment, worrying about the championship game. Those moments and decisions and input will happen after. Right now worrying about that or focusing on those things it's not going to do anything. There's nothing going to be accomplished right now. So they just need to get through right now and take care of what's in front of them. And then we'll certainly support them, whatever they decide to do, and help them through the process.
So if all those guys said, we'll come back if you come back.
Yeah, heck yeah, let's go. That's right.
Coach,
I love it.
the mindset on the last couple plays, you take the sack right before Grady throws his field goal and things like that. I know you want to be aggressive, but it just seemed like that you guys were able to run the ball a little bit. Why you wouldn't just you're thinking?
Well, we didn't want to burn the timeout to try to help the field goal unit. That was the first part. So had a pretty safe call on. Thought they went cover zero, and honestly, it had nothing to do with the extra rusher. It was the fan side of our protection got beat in the B gap on a pretty easy pickup. That Mike knows the deal. If it's not there, throw it away. It got on him so fast that he just couldn't do anything about it. So certainly was bummed with that, and would have anticipated us doing a better job in that moment. And that was unfortunate. That was a frustrating moment in the game for sure.
Is there anything going back to the first Oregon game that you would have done differently, that you'd like to do different this time around? Any lessons learned from that game from your perspective at all?
Yeah, I mean, there always is. There's some strategic things I'm probably not going to share right now, but I think that when you look at it, just trying to generalize a little bit, when you look at it, you think about what the efficiency points are, you think about what was successful, and then you think about what was seen by the defense and, doing what you're good at and making sure that we can get our guys in position to do the things that we know how to do well.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
All right, good afternoon. Heard a lot from the coordinators. Just excited about what we've accomplished, but knowing that, like I said a couple weeks ago, the job's not done, and that's our mindset of our guys. Looking forward to a big week here. Be a quick week. Today's really like a Tuesday, so coaching staff putting game plan together, and just guys with the urgency and every little detail when it comes to even just health and trying to be the best we can be and be ready to go on Friday night. But we're excited about this challenge. This is what we work for. Since January 3rd when we had our first team meeting. Guys deciding to come back. Come back, and it was to win a championship. And you don't talk a lot about it once you get into the season because you're focused on the next game. The next game's the most important, and now we get to focus on the next game, and that next game's the championship game that we've had our sights set on since day one.
How do you switch things around to take away for 24 hours missing? Like logistically, what do you have to do?
Are you talking about with a shorter week?
Short week, yeah. Like logistically, how do you manage not having those 24 hours?
Yeah, you just got to make sure you don't add to the wear of the guys. They need time to recover from Saturday. That was another 4-quarter game that we played in, and you need some time for the staff to game plan and put their thoughts together. Just over many years, realize that when you have a shorter week, forcing the staff to hurry up and get ready and practice earlier than normal. That's not always conducive to having the best plan in place, and you want every rep to matter, especially in a shortened week. And so our staff, going to take. And they've put the pedal down. They're working hard since Saturday night to really get the right plan in place And we'll spend some time with our guys tonight that we normally wouldn't spend just for a little bit of time here. And then, we'll hit it tomorrow. So, yeah, there'll be one practice that we won't have, but it is what it is. No one cares. It's just a matter of what happens on Friday night, and we'll be ready.
Coach, 12-0 has sort of been the gold standard around here with the 1991 national championship team. How strange is it that you guys are also 12-0, and yet you're still playing for a conference championship, let alone 3 more wins would make you a national champion?
Yeah, I mean, and that team, it's been really cool since day one being here to understand the makeup of that team and the individuals. I haven't met all of them, but I've met many, and it's a special group and team that took the field that season. And there was build-up very similar to what we've had this year from a season ago. We've related to that well. We've really embraced, what that team did and how special it was back in the early '90s, and the group of men that still care so much about the program even to this day. And they're the ones that many alumni are passionate about this place, but there's been some really heartfelt, things that have been shared with our team since we got here, almost 2 years ago now, that come from, that championship run that they had then. And our guys have just listened, and, you don't know what you're going to get to, but man, it's awesome seeing the memories that those guys created, and we appreciate the foundation that they set, not just that team, but so many other teams here at UW, to make it to where it's an expectation here, and getting into the championship game right now and everything that comes along with it, the excitement, maybe even just the pressure. I mean, whatever it is. I mean, that's why guys came here. They came to UW. I reminded them of that. That they came here to play in a game like this and to love it. Embrace the moment and cut it loose and let's go get it.
Kalen, speaking of pressure, Ryan talked a little bit about maybe Mike feeling some of that external stuff, weight of the world, all that. Do you see any of that, and is any of that maybe affecting his play at all?
No, I don't think it's affecting his play. I think Michael has a heart of gold. I mean, he just cares so much. I mean, I've said all along how much of a team player he is, and so, he wants it for his teammates, more than he even wants it for himself, and so he wants it for this community. I mean, I think, every game that you go through it, and especially when you got a perfect season going, there's just a desire to want to just keep it on. And, I don't think it really is, determining or, really affecting how he's playing or anything like that. So I think he's playing well, and we're continuing to bring the pieces, I think, and getting stronger with who's coming back. And you referred to Jalen McMillan and some other guys too. I mean, having Julius Buelow back the last couple of weeks has been helpful, and some of those things are continuing to fall into place, and where we can be stronger, and that's what you want, is to hit your peak here going into conference championship weekend.
Coach, in your career, have you had to play a team twice in a season? Mm-hmm. And if so, can you just talk about the uniqueness of having to do that? Because it doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, many times at Sioux Falls. 2 of the top teams in the country were us and Morningside College, and we played regular season game, usually for the conference championship, and then we played usually in the second round of the playoffs. And then even at against Boise State, when I was at Fresno, we played them back-to-back weeks. We played them the last game of the regular season, had to turn around and play in the conference championship, and we did that. We played them twice, or 4 times in 2 years. And so done that a few times. You learn from the game before. They're going to make adjustments. But it's not like there's any secrets. You know who their personnel are. They know who ours are. You quickly, talk through, again, the details of what they do, how they do it, who they are, and, you get the plan moving.
It's a bit of a strange situation, obviously, where you guys beat Oregon, you're the higher-ranked team, undefeated, all that stuff, and they're considered the heavy favorite in this game. Is that part of the messaging at all to your team this week?
Yeah, I don't think our guys will get too caught up in that. And if they do, it will only be to benefit us, as far as I think our guys our guys are confident in who we are. A couple weeks ago when we played Oregon State, I mean, it just grew a bigger chip on the shoulder. And then when it started raining, everyone felt like that would play against us too. I mean, just those things doesn't take away from our confidence. We've felt since day one that we can beat any team in the country. Now, in all due respect to everyone else, we know we got to play our game, or a lot of these teams that we face can beat us too. And so it's a respect all and fear none, attitude that we've had since day one, trusting and believing that we have what it takes and that we can get it done. So it really doesn't affect anything as far as our confidence or anything like that. And if anything, we'll add to a chip on the shoulder. We know that every game is its own game, and we got to be our best on Friday night. We know we're facing a very good football team that, like, a lot of it, I think, has to do with them playing well. So we will be ready. We'll be ready, and we'll bring our best.
Kalen, Ryan talked about Wazoo kind of getting some of your signals and all that figured out. Can you kind of give us your take on what you saw out there?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into that really too much. I mean, that happens. I mean, it's not like what we're seeing in the landscape of the rest of the major piece of college football that kind of revolves around that. So, again, it happens on some level, I think, almost not every game, but a lot of games. So there's a lot of crossover, a lot of people that know each other, and players that played at certain places and things like that. So there's pieces, and it can be small, big. I mean, it's not going to affect us moving forward. We found a way to win.
You feel like it was just kind of unique to the Apple Cup, or has that been?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kalen, this is going to be the last game that's played under the Pac-12 banner. Other than the fact it is for a championship, is there something that resonates with you or is special to you about being able to be a part of this game?
Yeah, I mean, I think even just this season, us doing what we've done, where we've ran the table and won every game. I wasn't aware until I think even Saturday that we were the only under the Pac-12 to win every game and be undefeated. So I'm proud of that. Our guys should be proud of that. And so that's not the goal. The goal is to win a conference championship and continue to move on. So it's been a great year of football in the Pac-12. Multiple people that have been in the conference a long time in roles that would definitely know have said that it's never been stronger. People we're competing against that I can have conversations with and just ask a question like that because I've only been here a couple of years, and them saying that this is the strongest that's ever been. And so it just speaks to our team. And a year ago I remember it was we didn't play two of the top teams in the league. This year we did. We played them all. And there's been nothing with the schedule. We've had to earn every single piece of us, being 12-0 and where we're at right now.
Kalen, sorry, go ahead.
2 years ago this week, you were hired. And your message to everyone was that you weren't going to rebuild this program. You were just going to take it and run with it. And here you're now in the championship game 24 months later. At that point, did you think something like that was possible when you kind of had a rough idea of your roster and all your resources?
Yeah, I mean, I think first of all, here at Washington, I knew that was possible. And then I think that, you didn't know at early December, what the retention was going to look like, maybe necessarily with, the first time I ever, had a press conference or introduction. Didn't know Michael Penix was going to be a part of our program at that time. But I think as we got into the spring, you could see the potential. And again, it didn't take year one could have led to, post at the end of the year, guys deciding to move on to the NFL and us missing a few of these guys that are critical to our success this year. But I think just most importantly, this program, UW, and the tradition, it's much easier to build a program, I think, when you have the support like we do from the community, from the rest of the athletic department. It's been done before. I mean, the alumni just, there's so much, I think, that just, I call it the bones of a program, just the core of who we are, to where we could get back to this point.
You guys held Thule out until I think the fourth quarter. Was he just in an emergency capacity? Was that maybe with this week in mind? What was kind of the thought on his?
Yeah, there's a combination. I mean, just, what he brings to us and how he could help us against, a quarterback like Cam Ward and their offense, but also just, the wear and tear, too. So he's in a really good spot. We expect him to be ready to go, and he's we expect him to have an impact on the game just like he always does when he's on the football field.
Did you ever get any explanation on the penalty on Dom that wiped away the field goal that led to the touchdown?
Yeah, you can't you have to be within a yard. I mean, they made the right call. That's a penalty we can't have happen, and addressed that multiple times, yesterday in different ways. And so, just Dom's, just trying so hard, and it's just one of those things you gotta just do your job and do it as best you can. And, he's a superior athlete. He's, super competitive, and you can't back beyond a yard, and he was probably 2 to 2.5, 3 yards maybe away from the line of scrimmage, and so you can't jump and land on top of anyone. So it's the right call.
How about the call on Mike on the grounding call on the offsides?
Yeah, we haven't got anything back from that yet. So yeah.
What do you tell your guys? I know obviously it's both sides of the ball. There's some that are false starts or offsides. How do you, in a game that's going to be so significant, how do you in the last week of the season, is there a way?
I think with penalties and stuff, you're saying? Yeah, I think we made some strides last week again. Unfortunately, there's a moment here and a moment there that we're referring to, where we just got to be better. And, guys just got to be locked in. Again, not trying to do too much. We just have super competitive guys that are just chomping at the bit. And they just got to lock in on doing on the details. Just first of all, what their job and responsibility is, and focused on whether it's a snap or hands inside, which I think we did a pretty good job when it came to holding calls. I thought we got better there, and so thought the guys did a good job of really just focusing on the details. It's hard to have a perfect game, but I thought we made some strides.
Has Braylon Trice received a holding call against Small Season?
I think he has. Yeah.
One.
Yeah. He's just he does apply. I think what you're getting at is he does apply a lot of pressure on the quarterback, and there's a lot of offensive linemen that are holding on for dear life as he comes around the edge, and he's just he's a menace. He does an amazing job attacking. He's always in attack mode, and he's certainly, I feel like, and that's always the case. I think there's holding calls that probably could be made every play in reality, but he certainly applies a lot of pressure and puts a lot on the offensive linemen, and of course that those are tough calls that happen fast, with the officials to have to make that.
How are you guys health-wise coming into this game? I know Zion left for a little bit at the end, but I think he came back.
Yeah, I'd expect him to be.
But
yeah.
are you guys pretty healthy?
Yeah, I think relative to where we were at maybe middle of the season, I think we're healthier. So, different guys have been out throughout, and, the receiving cores slowly come back into being intact, and, offensive line is kind of back to where it was early in the year with Bulow being back. So defensively, some of those pieces, slowly returning. So I think we're getting in a good spot, when it comes to the health of the team.
Kalen, when you look at Oregon since you played them, how have they sort of evolved and maybe improved, changed since that game?
Yeah, I think they've been just very consistent. I think that's the key, and they got, they're a very good football team, and I think we probably, in that game right there, since then they've had their backs to the wall, as far as making sure that they get into the conference championship. And so, with that comes an urgency, and I think you see that through their play. That happens because every day in practice they got a little more determination to have this opportunity that they have, you know, to play in the conference championship and probably especially against us, their only loss in the season.
It's been alluded to a little bit, but, you know, Asa only played 4 games in the regular season. Do you think you would consider coming back next year? Have those conversations happened at all?
Yeah, possibly. And again, I heard earlier, we'll have more of those, you know, once the week is over. And, you know, I think that's a possibility though, you know, with Asa.
Do you see anything from these last 6 games you guys have played that you think makes you better equipped to face Oregon again?
I think it's just the grind. I mean, when you get to championship football, conference championship, playoff runs, whatever it is, there's just an understanding that, I mean, every play matters, every series matters, and it isn't always going to be perfect because the other team has really good players too. And so it's just a mindset of you know, after a series is over, good, bad, or ugly, I mean, you got to get on the sideline, you got to regroup, make a couple adjustments, and you go back out there, and it's going to take everything you have the next play. And doing it over and over and over again for 4 quarters. And I think that's just where our guys are at. I mean, they're just in such a fight mode, you know, where they're going to fight until the very end, and they know in a game like this, it's going to take that.
I don't think there's a lot of people that would have predicted you guys to get through this gauntlet 12-0, even November, that schedule. You mentioned the grind. Can you just kind of take us behind the scenes a little bit and just talk about how hard this has been to actually pull off?
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's a challenge, and I think the number one thing that we do a really good job of, we did it a year ago, and I referred to that in fall camp. You talk about the schedule and you break it down. Excuse me. And you know, you get to that point where, you know, you've heard me say the games in November are the ones you remember, but even just breaking it down more to where it's not November, it's just week 1. You can't win all 4 until you win week 1. And you can't win 2 until or 3 until you've won week 2 after that. And so we just have done such a good job of not making it like this holistic, wow, look at the teams you're going to play and all the different types of offenses, defensives, you know, the skill players you're going to see, the places you're going to be in, the hostile environments. You can't make it about that. You make it about the moment you're in, and you just focus on that. And again, like I said, every game is its own game. And you know, I'm just really proud of the guys have bought into that. They did a year ago, they did again this year, and they've bought into that and really made the most of it. You know, because you can easily just get caught up in how tough it's going to be, and our guys haven't. They just buckled in and hunkered down, whatever words you want to use, whether it's a game week or whether it's a certain drive or a 4th quarter. They just kind of hunker in and realize, you know, keep fighting, keep playing. And, you know, I really am proud because, like I said, I mean, the schedule itself as a whole was going to be super competitive and tough. And then especially this last month was going to, you know, be even more so with who we were playing and what all those programs were playing for as well.
Now, you said, I think a couple weeks ago, that Troy was working on some stuff behind the scenes, right? The A&M job got filled yesterday. Are you guys any closer?
Yeah.
Getting something done?
Yeah, it's, you know, and Troy, I just appreciate everything he's trying to do, not just for me, just for the staff and trying to bring it all together. And, you know, much like I'm asking our players, you know, my focus is, you know, on this game right now, and in the meantime, there's things that Troy's trying to do, and you know, there's maybe a moment or two where, you know, it takes a second of my time, but I appreciate him trying to take care of that business while allowing me to focus on our football team at the same time.
Is that everything?
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Let's go.
Sure.